Hello guys, here is Easy here again with a new dev diary. This time we are going to, or I'm going to present to you a new mod for the Total Fall of the Samurai series called the MP mode. What is the MP mode? The MP mode, or multiplayer mode I call it, has to do with single player and multiplayer battles. So that means that it only focuses on custom battles. It doesn't have a campaign, nor single player nor multiplayer. It's not for avatar conquest. It is just for single player custom battles and multiplayer custom battles. So this mod is really created for the community, so we can all play together, or you can play with other people at the Discord, for example, the Total Fall of the Samurai Discord, or somewhere else, wherever you like. So what does it contain? Well, it contains two factions, as you can see in the images. It's based on the American Civil War. We are busy first with the eras, or era 4. Now the way it actually is a bit the same as in the upcoming Carlist Wars campaign, except in the Carlist Wars campaign, or mods that have a campaign, we are going to use tier, but for the multiplayer and single player mod, or MP mod, we only concentrate on era. So era 4, for example, is the same as tier 4 in a campaign mod. The only difference that an era or an MP mode doesn't have winter or summer dress. It's just normal dress, you could say. So that's also lesser work for us. Reason why we started, or I started with era 4, has to do with the interesting conflict time, you could say. Era 4 is 1860s. So era 3 is 1850s, era 2 is 1840s, and era 1 is 1830s. This is where approximately the Victorian age started. Let's say 1837 with her coronation. But 1830, 40, there weren't so many conflicts, few of them. But you can really see it started to ramp up during the 1850s, era 3. For the Crimean War. It actually started to have more conflict, but especially era 4 is a very interesting time because you had the American Civil War, you had the Second Schleswig War, between Prussia, Austria, and Denmark. Then you over the German Confederation, or whatever you call it. You also had the Austro-Prussian War, the Battle of Königgrätz, also 1866. You have the Franco-Mexican War in the 1860s. You also had the War of the Triple Alliance and some other conflicts here and there. So they will all be represented in Era 4, and we will add those factions few by few. So the first release will be about the American Civil War conflict. So there you have them, two factions. So let's go to the custom battle menu, because I'm sure you don't want to hear me talking alone only, but you also want to see some action. So here you can see you only have two factions, the CSA and the USA. Here in the faction traits, maybe I have to change it to faction info, but that's maybe for next time. You can here see some information that will appear on the battlefield on the units. So here we have the Confederate States of America, it's Confederate, American Civil War conflict, era 4 conflicts, 1860s, so then you have an idea. Started in 1861, Fort Sumter attack, ended in 1865. Approximately after the surrender at Appomattox Courthouse. You know that it took a bit longer for some other generals to surrender, but you could say that the Appomattox Courthouse was a bit the trigger that other Confederate units in other areas of the United States actually surrendered. But okay, I'm sure some history buffs could agree or not agree. So here you have PRC, so if you find that as a percussion lock musket, SMB means smoothbore, so if you find that symbol on your unit, it means it uses a smoothbore. If it uses an RFLD, means it's a rifled musket. If it's an REV, it's a revolver, mostly cavalry. EA breach then means it's an early era breech block. Mostly the cavalry, you will see they have those ones because they had early era breech block carbines, and some United States light infantry also have, like for example the Sharps rifle. Here you can see that I added some battle maps. They all are made like FotS maps. So ACW means of course the American Civil War. The other ones are just ones I just added in the space of time a bit before for the Carlist War, but they also will be added. Fort Wagner is also made not by me but by another user. I will put the credit list on the ModDB page. Save for Manassas and Spotsylvania. More American Civil War maps could be added in time. I also encourage other people to make their own maps for the mod, and also make a tutorial how to use the buildings, because I had added a lot of buildings and more buildings will be added. So you can then create your own map for the mod. But let's take Fort Wagner. Yeah, you can choose whatever you want, summer, winter, whatever. Sorry, I take unlimited and normal. We are defending, so at Fort Wagner, you go on the left side to defend, otherwise if you put on attack, you're in the fort, so you have to get out of the fort to attack. But that's up to you, so you choose. Let's now go to the armies. So here we have the general staff. It's just one. If people want to create their own generals for the American Civil War, by all means. You know, it's not an American Civil War mod because there are so many of them, especially Napoleon and Total War. They really have outstanding American Civil War mods that really concentrate on that conflict with a campaign, but especially battle. So it's not the point of this mod. The mod is just to recreate conflicts from a lot of nations, as I just mentioned before. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to be concentrated on just American Civil War. Era 4 conflicts was just broader than the American Civil War. As I said before, we had many other conflicts in Europe, in South America, even in Asia, like the Boshin War. They also will be added. So it's not an American Civil War mod. It's just the two first factions are part of the Era 4 conflict, the American Civil War. So if people want to make their own generals, by all means, make a sub mod for it. I'm going to explain later how to use all the unit parts in tutorials later on, so you can create your own sub mods. So here you can see the cavalry that I added. I added 8 cavalries for the Confederate States of America. So if you choose the one you like. They are mostly based on history. Doesn't mean they are 100% accurate, so I'll do my best in it, but that doesn't mean they are 100% accurate. Some things you have to change for for playable reasons, so it's up to you to decide. But if for playable reasons, for gameplay reasons, sometimes you have to go to a certain way that is not always 100% accurate. So here we have the 5th Virginia Cavalry, 2nd Louisiana Cavalry, 7th Virginia, this is the 5th, this is the 7th. This is the 1st Cherokee Rifles, 17th and 18th Texas Lancers, 2nd Texas Cavalry, the 3rd Texas Cavalry, and the 1st Texas Lancers. So this is, yeah, Texas Cavalry, sorry, this is not a Lancer. Here we have siege guns, a 30-pounder Parrott, a 48-pounder mortar, rifled all of them, 60-pounder Parrott, 100-pounder mortar, it's a big gun, and 100 Parrott gun, also very big gun. Then we have the light infantry, the Palmetto sharpshooters, they're a company of South Carolina. Then we have the 1st North Carolina sharpshooters. Then we have the line infantry. I mean, I can tell them all, but I think it's up to you to really, you know, you have the 1st South Carolina Edisto Company, 37th Alabama, 10th Tennessee, 17th North Carolina, 11th Mississippi, 33rd North Carolina, and so on and so on and so on. They only have their own flags, so you will see it in game. They also have some Zouave units like the 1st Louisiana and the 10th Louisiana. I think they're the first. Yeah, I know which one is the Louisiana type. I think it's the first one. Here you have some field artillery. So those are movable artillery units with horses. So if you see a symbol with a horse, it's a horse gun. Also I mentioned it in the text. So here you can see horse field cannon, 6-pounder, 10-pounder Parrot, 12-pounder Napoleon. It's a rifle one. An iron cast. The 12-pounder smoothbore, bronze. So you can see it's a bronze gun. So all the cars with, you could say gold-ish, are bronze guns. The gray ones are iron cast guns. So you also have the Whitworth gun, it's the early breech gun. So I'll also show that to you. And that's it. So let's just now take some units. I just take that amount of units. You can of course add more as much as you want, but just for gameplay reasons and just to showcase a bit the MP mode. United States of America, a bit the same thing. We have some cavalry, 22nd New York, 8th New York, 3rd New Jersey, 6th Michigan, 3rd Pennsylvania, and the 6th Pennsylvania Lancers. Here we have the same artillery pieces, siege guns, the 42nd Pennsylvania and the 1st Sharpshooters. Here we have the 14th Michigan, 53rd Ohio, 11th Indiana, 2nd Rhode Island, 24th U.S. Colored Infantry, 132nd New York, 5th Minnesota, 22nd USA Colored Infantry, 26th Colored Infantry, 42nd Indiana, 45th New York, 16th Ohio. You have much more Zouave units, I think. You have like the 146th, the 5th New York. You have kind of the 14th Brooklyn, the 76th Pennsylvania. You have the 33rd New Jersey. You have the 19th Illinois. You also have the Italian ones, the 39th New York. You also have some Irish one. I think 69th New York. There's another Irish one, but I don't remember which one. There are some famous ones also. Here you have the 54th Massachusetts, so maybe we'll take them for Fort Wagner. You also have the 20th Maine. Guns are a bit the same, except they do not have the 12-pounder rifled Napoleon gun, the iron cast one. It's historically a bit... the 12th Napoleon smoothbore was actually better, you could say, than the rifled iron cast. Confederates sadly had to make iron cast one because of there was, I think, there after the Battle of Chickamauga or Chattanooga, I don't remember, they lost the tin mines, or part of it, so they couldn't create bronze guns anymore. So then they had to then change it to iron cast rifled guns, but they weren't as good as the bronze one. But I mean, yeah, it's just not there. For the rest, yeah, you have the same guns, you could say. So yeah, that's it. I just take those amount of units, but you know, you can also take some cavalry, maybe the lancers. It will get probably shot to pieces. Shoot to pieces. Just to let you know, guys, that playing on the Fort Wagner map, there is a bit of an issue if you put a full stack AI army. If you play multiplayer, it doesn't mean nothing, but for an AI army, theoretically you only need a max of 10 units. I also will explain some other stuff, but that's for a later maybe video or explanation in the forum about some glitches maybe you can get. But in the Fort Wagner map, you really have to be careful not to add more, because they get stuck on the side of the map. So it's best you use maybe a max of 10 units. Actually, this is maybe already too much, but okay, just for a showcase. Here we are in the map, and as you can see, it is the Fort Wagner map on the Morris Island, famous battle, famously filmed at in the movie Glory, one of my favorite movies, by the way. I really love that movie. So you can see that I had to customize it, so to change some stuff, because there were some issues I had to fix. So the original map maker of Fort Wagner will be added in the credit list. So I didn't make it, I just customized it to fit the mod, because there were some issues with pathfinding, especially here, if I remember correctly. Sometimes when your units flee, so if you're defending and they flee that side, they sometimes get stuck here. So maybe I have to fix it in a future patch. But you can see that you can only cross the map or the battle map if you attack. So you come from there somewhere, you can attack, you can charge here, so this is a space, and you can charge here in the middle and there on the right side. So you have 3 parts where you could theoretically charge. You don't need to charge, you can just shoot them or try to shoot them to pieces, but as they are in a defensible position, it's a bit difficult. So yeah, here's the map itself. You have some palm trees and, you know, some swamps a bit, you could say, and water. So, you know, so then you have an idea how it is. So the AI comes from here somewhere. As I said, normally here's where it comes from, the AI, but sometimes when the AI put their troops there, it's possibly that they get stuck. But if you only have max 10 stack units, it's okay. So if you're playing against 4 AIs, just see that you only put max 10. Now preferable 8 if you go against the AI. The reason also is because maybe there's a texture glitch that could come, because of there's a limitation with the Shogun 2 engine for one reason or another. If you increase the amount of units stack, you can get texture glitch. Now the magic number is 24, 1v1, so the more players you have, the more you have to divide it. So if you're playing 2v2, let's say, that's 24 divided by 12. That means that every player needs to use 12 units on their, you know, in their stack. If it's 4x4, then it's divided by 4, so that means 8. Well, not sorry, 24, is it 6? Don't remember. It's something like that. So it's like around 8 maximum per, or 6 maybe per thing, but I'm just going to still test it more, but just to give you an idea. So what can you do here? You can add it also in those buildings here if you want. So if you zoom in, maybe just turn, you can also add the units here. I sometimes speaks a bit Japanese, but okay, most Japanese sounds are out. But so here you can see that they are inside the building and they are protected by the house. So so you can add them there, but you can just add them into the fort. Add the fort. Put them here.
Infantry! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Artillery! Troop! Artillery!
General, stop, sir! Men of the Sacred Dog.
Sir! Battery reporting!
General, stop!
So let's watch some units on the battlefield. Here you have the 33rd North Carolina with their flag. Which one is this one? 11 Mississippi. They're all based on images. Doesn't mean that it's 100% accurate, but you can say mostly of images I found, so I could add it. Also, I want to give credit to the American Civil War Revived mod for Mount and Blade, because most uniforms come from them. They actually created it for Mount and Blade. I asked permission to use them, so it was easier for me, so I didn't have to make any uniforms, so all credit goes to them. I just converted to the Shogun 2 engine, you could say the Warscape engine in this case. Here we have the Irish 10th Tennessee units. Then you have here the 1st South Carolina Edisto Rifles. They're part of a company. The 18th Alabama. We have the 18th Alabama. And here we have the 16th North Carolina. Here we have the Cherokees, the 1st Cherokee Mounted Rifles.
Wind Riders!
And they also have their own selection sound coming from Empire Total War. So here you have some guns. Here we have the 12-pounder rifled horse Napoleon gun. So those are the iron cast ones.
Battery reporting!
Oh, okay, speak loud. They shoot explosive shells, and they shoot a bit further because they are rifled than the smoothbore counterpart. Smoothbore counterpart, sorry, shoots solid round shots. So that means they do not explode, but they actually, move forward on the field, you could say. And they also can shoot canister. They only can shoot shrapnel shot. Here we have then the famous Whitworth gun. So there were the early breech loader guns. So of the Napoleon. Was almost going to say Napoleon Total War. Yes, I'm just not so long time awake. So sorry about that if I sound a bit tired. But here we have the breech loaded gun. So the it has been used. So interesting. Then you have that gun. Here we have the general. It's just a it's a general model. So as I said before, you want to make your own units for this mod. By all means, I'm going to make tutorials for it, so you can make your own units. And here we have the 7th Virginia Cavalry. So all with their own sound.
Sir!
And also have, if you can see, I also put like the explanation, the small ones, in it. So there's no encyclopedia for it, so it's too much work. So they will just be added in the Total RTS mods forum. So let's start the battle.
Battery reporting!
Here we have the United States models. We have the 1st Minnesota, the early one model. That's also a later model. It's the only one that has it. Now I already can feel. Oh, they're moving forward? Okay. Yeah, now they move forward, so that's okay. Here we have, here we have the 146th New York. We have here the 69th New York, the Irish part of the Irish Brigade. And here we have the 1st Minnesota Late. They are mixed with the Irish Brigade, Regiment 69th. Here we have the Late Minnesota. We have here the, we just saw that one. Okay, this is the cavalry running as fast as it can. This is the butterflies, actually. They were called the butterflies. This is the 3rd New Jersey Cavalry. They were the only of 2 cavalry that actually were designated as hussars, but they were still using carbines. So here we have a 20-pounder smoothbore howitzer, pretty heavy caliber, and here we have then the 14-pounder rifled James gun, so smoothbore but rifled. Here we have the 37th New York. It's also an Irish regiment. We have here the, I think, the 54th Massachusetts, so yeah, famous from the movie Glory, with Colonel Shaw. I think it's Colonel Shaw, right? And here we have the general, just a general model, general. And here we have the 5th New York Zouaves. We have here the 2nd Wisconsin. I think they are part of the Iron Brigade, if I remember. So they are pretty good. And this one looks stuck. As you can see already, sometimes the AI is doing strange on this map. So that's why I say that the maximum is 10 units. I will explain it more on the forum, so then you have an idea. Okay, the cavalry is getting fast already, so let's just start the battle. We can see the movement guns shooting with shells, explosive shells here. And the animation, same as the Armstrong gun in the vanilla game. Rifled with muzzle loaded gun. That's the 12-pounder rifled iron cast horse Napoleon gun. The sound is different. And the animation. And we have to wait until it fires. And fire. So they have horse guns, so it means you can shoot them faster. The way I actually use it is that everything that is above 12 pounders, except the Napoleon guns, are just normal mobile guns, but not horse guns. So everything lower than 12 pounders are mostly horse guns. They are lighter in caliber, but they're easier to, to move from left to right. Except the Napoleon gun, it's a bit different. It was light enough to shoot actually a 12 pounder, so that's why. Maybe here we have like an example of how big it is. You see already it's like, moving. That hit and they're on fire. when they're out of range. And they're out of range. Let's see. They're like, nope, going back, bad idea, bad idea. Remember, this is an example. I'm not here to like, oh yeah, let's make it a competition here. It's just an example, so then you have an idea. Let's just move a bit forwards. If you have any questions, you can always ask questions on the forum, Total RTS Mods forum, or just at the Discord if you want more direct answers. I'm going to post more information. It just gives a bit of time because I have to organize everything. The testers had this week to test, and last week also. Theoretically, everything was possible. Everything was possible. Everything was stable. There were some issues that I'm going to explain in the information channel at the forum, because we had a texture glitch that we sometimes get at a certain above amount of units. So yeah, just for you to know. Now remember, this is still the battle AI from Shogun 2. It is the best personally in my opinion, but it's still the Warscape crappy AI. So I think it's pretty fun.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, my lord.
So you can see the Whitworth gun shoots pretty fast, but it also doesn't have fast ammunition. I mean, it finishes fast the ammunition. And here we are shooting. Sometimes the AI charges, sometimes not. So I think we're going to shoot here.